a McDonald's veggie burger, a plant-based sausage from your local supermarket, or a Beyond Meat plant-based steak. All of these might soon be off the menu across Europe. Or at least, they might need a completely new name. Because this week, the European Parliament voted on whether words like burger, sausage, steak, escalope, hamburger, egg yolk, and egg white should be banned for use on plant-based products. Yes, seriously. So in this short video, we'll quickly go over the reasons for the ban, the reasons against it, and how the Parliament actually voted. And I'll share my opinion at the very end. Let's get into it. The proposal was brought forward by a French lawmaker from the center-right Republican Party. She summed up her views pretty clearly. A steak, an escalope, or a sausage are products from our livestock farms, period. No laboratory substitutes, no plant-based products. Alright then, what's behind all of this? What are the actual benefits? Well, supporters say it's all about consumer clarity, making sure that no one accidentally buys a veggie burger thinking it's made of beef. Apparently, that's a real concern. Then there's protection of traditional producers. Words like sausage or steak are seen as part of Europe's culinary heritage, and some argue they should stay reserved for farmers who actually raise these animals. They also talk about creating a level playing field. The argument goes that plant-based companies are piggybacking, no pun intended, on the reputation of traditional meat and dairy products, without following the same strict rules on labeling, production, or animal welfare. And finally, precedent. The EU already bans dairy terms like soy milk or vegan cheese, so supporters say, if we protected milk and cheese, why not meat too? On the other end of the aisle, you've got the plant-based industry, and unsurprisingly, they're not thrilled about this idea. Yasmine Debo, the global CEO of Pro-Veg International, said the following: Europe is the biggest consumer market globally for plant-based meat alternatives, a market from which EU farmers will benefit hugely. In other words, banning these products might actually hurt European farmers, not help them. Rafael Pinto from the European Vegetarian Union added the following: banning words like burger or sausage for plant-based products is unnecessary and counterproductive. It undermines consumer freedom and sustainability while pretending to solve a problem that simply doesn't exist. Their main argument: there's no real confusion. People know a veggie burger isn't made of beef, and surveys back this up. A 2020 European Consumer Organization survey found that 80% of people think plant-based meat should be allowed to use names like burger or sausage. And according to the 2023 Smart Protein survey, 91% of citizens across 9 EU countries said that they recognize plant-based meat alternatives. Even the EU's very own legal experts seem to agree. In an opinion from last September, the EU Court of Justice's Advocate General said that banning these familiar names could actually make things more confusing for consumers, not less. And then there are the broader arguments against the ban too. There's the issue of freedom of expression. Companies should be able to describe what they're selling without running into legal headaches. Then there's the environmental contradiction. The EU keeps telling us to eat more sustainably, but this kind of rule would actually make plant-based diets harder to promote. And finally, small producers would be hit the hardest, forced to rebrand, redesign, and relabel everything, while big companies would simply shrug and absorb the cost. All in all, critics say this is a classic case of trying to fix a problem that, well, doesn't really exist. Alright, now to the best part of the video. How did the European Parliament actually vote on this ban? Drumroll please, because out of the 720 MEPs, 355 voted in favor of the ban, 247 against, and 30 abstained. So yeah, there you have it. The European Parliament officially wants a label change. And if we dig a little deeper, it's pretty much what you'd expect. Right-wing parties the most in favor, while left-leaning groups were a lot more skeptical. Although, quite interestingly, there were even a few Greens who voted for the ban, which honestly surprised me. And when you break it down by country, it looks like this. Hungary really doesn't want anyone calling veggies meat, while Sweden couldn't care less. But this isn't coming into effect tomorrow. As with everything in EU politics, there's still a long road ahead. Next up will be the trilogue negotiations between the Parliament, the Council, and the Commission. And after that, there'll be a final vote, both in the Council and once again in the Parliament. This is what I think. Quite frankly, this is ridiculous. We have a war on our borders. Drones and fighter jets are entering our airspace, and our economies are struggling to stay competitive. And what are our politicians talking about? Burgers. Instead of fixing what's broken, we're creating more red tape and more rules for companies that are barely keeping their heads above water. And the hypocrisy is just unbelievable. Look again at how the parliament voted. The same far-right parties who never stop shouting about Brussels overreach and pointless EU rules are the very ones pushing for this pointless rule. And even the center-right EPP, the group that claims to be fighting the red tape, backed it with a majority. These are exactly the kind of decisions that make Europeans lose faith in the EU, that make people roll their eyes and wonder what other nonsense Brussels will come with next to make their life harder and make prices higher. So let's get back to the issues that matter, and let's shut this down, because people know the difference between these two products. And as a side note, did you know that the first sausage invented was mostly soy and not meat? So should we ban that name for meat too? It's just ridiculous. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into this topic and debate fellow EU citizens from across the continent, join our Discord community with over 1,500 members discussing EU politics every day. Literally anything from election results, Georgian protests, or European federalism. Or our second Discord server, Europa, where over 500 people roleplay a federal EU, complete with elections, lively debates, and its own functioning government. And if you want to support us further, consider joining us on Patreon. Link is in the description below. Thank you so much to our presidents. Jan Schauke Christian Peter HGVD, Daniel Unite Europe, Stefan, and Kiki Loxin. See you in the next video.